I will call the meeting to order at 7:30. Roll call, William Johnston. Here. Thomas Graffinino.
Here.
Lynn Colligan.
Here.
Lisa Kreckler.
Here.
Phil DiOrio is here. We also have present Tim Hill, the CBA attorney via Zoom. Tonight's first order of business is to review and approve the September 24th, 2025 minutes. Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so tonight's a work session. We have 4 applications to discuss. The first is 80 North Ferry Road, Sylvester Manor. Punch, are you going to recuse yourself?
Myself, yes.
Very good. We had discussed this last month, excuse me, and tried to work out some sort of an outline of a possible draft. Our attorney has tried to put that in words, and
Thank you, Tim.
I do think we have a good basis of an outline. And has everybody taken a look at this? A couple of things for me. We don't have the farm to table dinner on the list. I think that's something that has to be added.
Yes.
And there's nothing in here about the mobile kitchen that's being used to produce goods for the
Farm stand.
farm stand.
Yeah.
We have to have something about that in there. We have to limit it so that it's really only to produce things for the farm stand. When I look at the list of, uses, activities, I think that we were in agreement more or less on all of them. I'm afraid that, we may be making a mistake by allowing things like Creekside concerts, like the Shakespeare and the sculpture things.
Like not exactly aligned to the mission, you think?
That's, the question becomes like, it's, what are they? If the educational aspect of Sylvester Manor is the educational farm, and then the Native American and the African American
Preservation, historic preservation.
I don't know, how these things fit in as something that aligns with the education. You could say, well, you can get an education from these things, sure, but I mean, it's, you walk around every day and people say, oh, you learn something every day. It's not necessarily that. So personally, I feel some trepidation with these things. If you all feel good about them, then, we can move forward with them. But I do feel some trepidation.
I feel like that day when the list was so vast, it still is, about all the different things. I do agree that maybe, as much as I would never want to say no to Shakespeare, I don't know how that exactly aligns, nor do I know how the concerts align. And the wellness programs, I know we said no to the wellness programs and the private events.
I think we all agreed that same way that night, and that's why it's the 2 per year for both of those items, right? Is that what we had kind of agreed upon?
And I, and I see that, and my concern is that, all of these not-for-profits, they need to raise money, right? And, and after a while, you wonder, like, is this an educational facility, or is it going to be a fundraising place? I mean, that's, my concern. And if then, well, the two events a year aren't cutting it, is there going to be a need for, a third, a fourth, or a fifth? And so my concern is that saying that these things align with it being an educational facility,
Opens the door to like unlimited.
I mean, yes, and I don't suspect that there's going to be unlimited things going on, but I do feel like it opens a door. That's my feeling on that. And on this application at this time, I personally have not been sold on the idea that those three things that I brought up are align with the educational facility thing. Now, those are the things. Other than that, I think I'm, very good with the whole list. There are a couple things that we need to talk about where, got a couple question marks.
Bill, I just going back to those two items, the Shakespeare and the Creekside concerts. Are you classifying them as fundraisers or educational programming?
Well,
Which would you classify them as?
During testimony here, we talked about that concert that was earlier this summer in Los Hacheros, and they said, well, we really only covered expenses. I don't know if that was something off the cuff and maybe it was accurate or inaccurate. But
I just want to make sure we're not making the argument that we are saying we don't want these programs because it's fundraising, and that's not what we're approving here, even though you just said farm to table is okay.
right, well, farm to table, I see a direct link to things produced on the educational farm. It's hard for me to see the link with these other events.
Well, let me just ask you, what if the concerts were like, say, Native American or African American in
Yeah.
nature? Is that like
Yeah.
then getting too
I don't know.
specific about
Yeah, I don't know.
aligning with the mission?
I don't, and the thing is, it's not about aligning with their mission. It's about,
Having too many events?
no, it's about meeting the requirements of the special permit, right?
But that's one of the requirements of the permit, is that it's aligned with their educational mission.
Right, but that's,
Well, if I split hairs here for a
Please.
second. The section, the subsection 5 that this is under, in addition to all of the ordinary special permit standards that you've gone through on any special permit application, this one is, proceeding under the category for permitted special uses, special, that with a special permit from this board. And it's not one of the first four. It's in that category of ones that are of the same general character as one of those four. And specifically what the applicant asked the board to consider this to be of the same general character is as of an educational institution. So the comparison is really use to use. Is the use of the same general character as the use would be of an educational institution. So it's what you would expect, the intensity, frequency, character of the use that you would expect to happen with an educational institution in terms of those things with the use that's being proposed. So it's really it's not so much about how it matches their mission statement, except, to the extent that their mission is like that of an educational institution, then maybe there is overlap there. But it's not about so much determining whether this fits within their mission, but whether the proposed uses are, could be expected to be of the same type and character in terms of the burden on the land and how it gets used as what you would expect from an educational institution.
Thank you.
So, yeah, again, if everyone else feels like, hey, you know what, at 2 per year, we're good with this, I'll go along with that. But I am concerned about opening the door to something down the line. There's a couple other things that maybe,
If we limit it to 2, what concern do you have?
That they would petition for more,
yes,
but if we.
But if we deny it now, they could
zero-
still petition.
Exactly.
that is correct, that is correct. And so, but once you
So
allow,
is it
once you
really,
allow.
addressing the concern then?
Once you
that's
allow
still
the
there?
use, I think that it opens the door to, hey, you've allowed this use, right? And now the use is allowed, so we want more of this use that you've already allowed. Maybe we can come back to this, all right, because there's a couple other things that we still need to get into here. And under open space, Tim's got constructed wetlands, wastewater, public restroom. I mean, those things are there and useful, and I think that they work there. So I'm good with a yes on that. And then the last thing was land preservation partner organizations, municipal entities. So I think that was talking about what was it?
The Peconic Land Trust?
Yeah, Peconic Land Trust and having events. And for me, I think that's what that was about. Tim, is that what you're referring to here in your
Yeah.
list?
Well, in my list, it's derived from their list.
Right.
Yes, that's what that was.
I mean, so I think that, Peconic Land Trust and Sylvester Manor ought to be able to celebrate together the fact that they have preserved the property.
But that wouldn't be events, would it?
Open space recreation.
Like, what does that mean exactly? Open space recreation with partner organizations. Tim, can you define that open space recreation a little bit further? I know you're saying maybe it came from their list.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, of when they were presenting the list, the comments they made at that time. I don't know.
It's the open trails.
There were trails, there's the deer hunting, there's land that's.
Trails and hunting, probably.
I mean, that's 2 of those things, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I think once a year they had a thing with the Peconic Land Trust, and they had a little event on, to celebrate their preservation of the property.
Okay,
I'm good with that.
okay.
And then, at the very end of the list, there were the private gatherings, whether it's weddings, birthday parties, and we said no to all of that stuff.
That seems.
So, it's, if you all are fine with the limited number of the concerts, the Shakespeare and the sculpture, I'll not vote no on this. But I have concerns that they keep rattling around in this addled old brain here.
Where are we gonna add in the missing items?
Well, I think,
I can just make note of it if that's the case.
Okay,
Yeah, the farm to
Just
table, I
to
think.
give everybody, you know, a little bit of empathy in terms of why this is challenging, you know, if you're approving a use, you know, this is under the code for a principal use. Normally, the question would be, you know, can we have a gas station? Can we have a pig farm? You know, it's a singular use that you would be considering for a property. You know, the applicant here is a you know, faceted entity that, you know, they themselves haven't been able to, you know, put a fine point on, you know, some terminology that encapsulates everything they do. So, you know, there's unlikely to be any other circumstance, you know, where you're asked to approve things on an activity by activity level. That's not really what a use is. You know, so it's really the aggregate of all the uses that they, you know, do together. And I think the reason the list exists is because there was appropriately concern from the public as well as from the board that, you know, in the absence of being able to define exactly what they are, a permit that was just granted would be unlimited. So, you know, the desire to understand what they had done previously, what they intend to do in the future, and that's why there's, you know, a long list, but it's not, you know, typical that you would be looking at something like this on a activity by activity level.
Yeah.
So, to the extent, again, you know, the governing boundaries here are that which, you know, would be consistent with what you might expect the use of an educational institution.
There were some marketing materials and it did say countless events, and that made me
Yeah,
worry that we're opening up the door to countless events, but clearly we're not.
yeah. All right, so the couple other things that I'd like to see included as conditions. The first is that no new building, right? That's what we decided. That there'd have to be a new application to come to the ZBA. And we discussed to some degree leasing property to other entities. I would prefer that that was not allowed either. For other organizations to run a something there, that everything has to stay under, for me, for the Sylvester Manor umbrella.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
Tim, are we good with those thoughts?
Yes,
Okay.
there are the conditions in the memo at the end, so the first one is addressed there, if that, the language there is consistent with what the board is thinking. And the second one is, I suppose, a different way of saying what you just referenced about leasing to third parties.
So you're saying, Tim, the number 2 there where it says that any rights conferred thereby granted solely to Sylvester Manor and may not be transferred, you'd think that would cover the leasing of property to others?
Well, if that's, you know, there's no reason not to put it in those terms if that's what, that's the objective.
And I mean, I'd be happy with leaving number 2 in there, but maybe we need number 3 for the other thing.
Okay. The other question I would have is, you know, to the extent anything's being limited to a certain amount of times per year, they also self-identified their previous frequency on their version of the list. I don't know if that's their own statements of their prior use it's implicitly also a condition to all of these, is that it's it's no more than what they've self-reported as their prior frequency.
Yeah.
If
That could
that,
be a condition.
Yeah,
if that's, if that's what the board would want to be a condition, it could be. But we did ask them to specify that, and they did do that on, their spreadsheet. So we could incorporate by reference their own self-reported frequency and limit it to that if that's what the board wanted to do.
I feel like we kind of homed in on some limits ourselves.
Mhm. And just like the enforcement of that too.
That's,
Yeah.
that's another ball of wax. So,
yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, because, you could have, we're limiting certain things, but porch talks, for example, all of a sudden they could have 100 porch talks in a year versus, but I also don't think it's our to get into the weeds that deep, and at that point, we're almost telling them how to run their
But
organization.
what Tim is suggesting is that they've self-reported it.
Right,
Yeah.
so,
any limits that are different, anything that we
In
haven't limited
excess
the
of,
number of, that they reported a number, that we could go with that. If it's something, a use that we've approving or saying fits in, that it shouldn't happen with any more frequency or intensity than what they self-reported to us. Is that about right, Tim?
Yeah, that's an option to do it that way, or you could just do it for the select things that you have a specific number that you want to put on something. But they're, they do have that. I mean, it's a little bit challenging as a document because then we have to like incorporate by reference this spreadsheet of theirs, but it's not really different than when you say that a building must be, in conformance with the plans that were submitted. So,
yeah, that's true.
I like the idea of that, actually.
But I don't want to eliminate the limits that we put on.
No,
No.
no, 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 no.
But for, the other events, like what if they decide to have 4 farm-to-table events? Like,
Right.
they're, that's not reasonable given growing season, but those are huge events,
Yeah.
so it's,
Okay, I'm good with that. The farm to table, I would.
no, or another
Yeah,
event,
but I guess
yeah.
I could say, that wasn't in their thing before, so I could say we could limit that to 1 per year. Is that correct? Okay. Anyone else? So we're gonna leave this with we're gonna allow the sculpture, we're gonna allow 2 concerts, and we're gonna allow 2 theatrical performances of Shakespeare.
I think they only do 1, but, hey. I think they've only ever done 1, but it's okay.
Does that make sense to everyone? Is that what everyone wants to do?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. Are we ready to go to the worksheet? Is that a yes or a maybe or?
Yeah.
All right. Our general suitability is the proposed use, the most appropriate use of this land. Well, fixed emotions, but maybe someone else can help me fill in here.
Yes. Because
Yes.
originally, it's being preserved in its original state. And it was an agricultural, to become an agricultural entity.
So is it more appropriate than residential? this is a use that's allowed as a principal use. Um, So,
Allowable under the code?
is it the most appropriate use? I don't know. Is it an appropriate use? Yes, but that's maybe, Glenn, you want to go with the yes? Go ahead.
I'm just the note taker, so I'm gonna write yes, and I'm gonna let Tim come up with the,
All right. Will the use be detrimental to surrounding property values? I don't see it. Anyone else have some input on that?
no, I don't believe it will, especially with the self-imposed and our limited
With
imposition of
yes,
limits.
with
Will the use cause an overcrowding of land or undue concentration of population?
For most days of the year, no, or,
It's a very large piece of property.
yeah, and it's
That we're
a
talking about,
limited
too.
large events.
Yeah, we're limiting the large events and based on the size of the parcel and where the activities are taking place, it's not going to cause an undue concentration of population.
Is the site suitable for the location of such use in the town?
Yes, it's been in existence for centuries.
Is the proposal harmonious with the character of the existing and probable development of uses in the vicinity?
I believe it is.
I would say so.
Is the proposed use accessible for fire and other emergency apparatus? I can tell you that this is something that has to get worked out with that entrance.
Yeah,
So I'm going to say yes, but it needs some work. Hopefully during site plan review, y'all will.
but there are other entrances to the
That's right, but
property.
I can tell you that day that I.
No, I get
was
that,
there, it was-
I get
it
that,
was
but it's not the
scary.
sole access
And,
and
and
egress.
in event of, as far as emergency,
Yeah, there's 3 or 4
Access.
places where you can get in there.
and where they would most likely draft from is up on the northern piece, right, by Deer Harbor, like
Mhm.
there. So that would, imagine a truck would go there first.
Right.
So they wouldn't be entering from 114.
All right, but it definitely does need some work.
Mhm.
Is the proposed use unreasonably near a church, school, theater, recreational area, or other place of public assembly? Say no.
No.
Will the proposed use interfere with established uses in the neighborhood? No. Public services, are the driveways and sidewalks adequate to assure the public safety and avoid traffic congestion?
No, it's
Not
we don't
the main
like
entrance.
Main entrance.
Environmental concerns, are there adequate facilities for the treatment, removal, or discharge of sewage, refuse, or other effluent from this use? Well,
They have a waste facility on site, don't they?
right, and they're going to have to, for the renovation of the
Yeah.
manor house, they're going to have to go IA there. Will the proposed use cause odors, dust, light, or noise? And if so, how can the impact be minimized? I would say that, once in a while, a couple times a year, there'll be some noise and some light, but other than that, I don't see it being.
And we did try to minimize that impact by limiting the number of times that those things will occur.
Will the proposed use impact the aquifer and other important natural resources? And if so, how can they be protected? I don't see,
The public restroom and the,
I just don't see it. Is the lot big enough for the proposed use and its reasonable anticipated operation and expansion?
yes.
Is there enough off-street parking for employees or visitors, and is parking laid out in a convenient and safe way? I would say that parking is also something that needs to be addressed on the
Yes.
site plan.
You're gonna say no? Needs work?
Needs some work.
Yeah.
What buffers and screening are necessary to protect adjacent property and land use? I think we decided that we didn't need any screening or buffer, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
And then with Tim's conditions, in addition to the ones that we are adding?
Yes. And Tim, if it's possible, I understand it's only a week away till our next, to the hearing, when we vote on this. If we get this as soon as possible, just because it's a little complicated and I want an opportunity to review
Sure,
any possible resolution.
yeah.
All right. We ready to move on? Close the work session on Sylvester Manor? And we just put away some stuff
Do you
here.
want me to get punch?
Sure.
Just want to enter the correspondence from the applicant received October 9, 2025.
We did receive a letter from Mr. Matheson, the applicant, sort of
Do you have to open
reviewing.
it?
Oh, sorry.
Do you have to open it, this one?
So
Or
I'd like-
announce it?
sure, let's open the work session
Okay.
on Matheson. We did receive a letter or an email from Mr. Matheson talking about the history of his application here and also offering alternative, an alternative that he would be interested in. I had proposed a different alternative when we were here last month, and i.e. my thing is saying, hey, we'll give you what we gave the prior applicant on this. And I don't think he's really that interested in that.
Could you speak a little bit?
Sorry, Punch, my throat is.
All right, okay.
So, the question becomes, how are we all feeling about this?
You guys had a work session without me, so I think it's my first time with you guys in the work session. I mean, I always think that the character of the neighborhood is our primary focus, and I don't believe this is changing the character of the neighborhood. I also don't think that it's maybe precedent setting because it's a unique situation. The sleeping quarters are too small. I get that. We don't want to encourage small sleeping quarters, but you know, I don't know if it would make sense to do this other plan where you abandon the storage and you just create the whole thing as sleeping quarters, because then that's going into the setback. So that's kind of adding to the problem. So I'm not very opposed to this, actually. I think it will be the minimal impact on the property. And that's what we always want, is the minimal impact on the property. So,
I mean, the alternative too is he could build an accessory sleeping structure in a conforming spot, but how is that less of an impact than using an existing structure? They're not expanding it. And we can do some conditions. I know I have written down no cooking, and we've discussed a little bit about some renting restrictions.
about renting it separately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but if they're gonna rent just the main house, I don't think that's problematic to have
I agree.
people
Yeah.
from that same rental
Using it,
inhabiting
yes.
that space.
Yeah. But to rent it on its own. that's
Sleeping
not a
quarters are
space.
not
Yeah, they
legally
can't, you
allowed
can't
to.
rent it.
Right.
I had some concerns about maybe there, you know, being like chemicals in the garage that would sort of like seep into the living quarters, but the wall will be there. And I don't know if we even need to put limitations on what could be stored in there, that it needs to be non-toxic, or maybe that's not even our purview. I don't know.
That's our,
As long as there's no door between.
Yeah.
the two, I don't think
That's an issue.
that there's anything.
Yeah.
For me, it's, my primary concern is, first off, approving something that's 203 square feet on 480 is a minimum. So it's, it's got 42.39% of the space requires a variance for 57%. It's a hefty amount. And, I understand the applicant poo-pooed it when, I brought up the idea someone could try to turn a Home Depot shed into a living space, but can someone see that in the future?
I mean, this is existing. I don't see, I get your parallel, but think about like, how big is your bedroom? I look at the bedrooms in my house, they're not 200 square feet.
Right, but this is accessory sleeping.
No, I get it. I get
As
that.
opposed to-
Yeah, I don't think this is going to cause people to want to construct accessory sleeping quarters under 480. And if they did, this is a unique situation. I just like the fact that it's least disturbing to the current layout, and it is lovely. I mean, I think more construction and an addition would not enhance the character of the neighborhood there. It would just be more built up.
Yeah, the other thing they could have done was add a second story to the house to get more bedrooms, and that there's a little bit more money involved in that approach, and the owner's trying to use something that's existing to get to the goal of having more space for sleeping.
Not on a rental basis.
No, well, but if the main house is rented.
Yeah,
then
then,
probably-
yeah, you can, the rent.
Yeah. That'd be the only time. If the main house is rented, they got overflow, they could use that.
Mhm.
But the main thing, no cooking facilities.
Cooking.
See, but that's where I think we were stalling on the last time we spoke about this. So that in essence changes a 4-bedroom house to a 5-bedroom,
A 3 to a 4.
or 3 to a 4.
Mm-hmm. Is that a problem for you?
Yeah, I think it enhances it as a rental,
Oh, without a doubt, but,
it's-
but in one scenario, we're saying that alone cannot be rented. But yet it's included part and parcel with.
Well, you wouldn't want 2 separate renters, then
Right.
you'd be able to rent.
No, not by any means, but
Right.
I don't see how you're gonna, Tom, I understand where you're coming from. And here's what, there's no way to say, hey, when you rent the house, you
you can't.
can't
And
include.
I get that, and I have zero problem, that, again, like Lynn said, it's done nice, it's not overbearing there. I've been past there several times, and I just look at, the exceptions that were the last time this came around for the ZBA, and,
Oh, the pool house?
yeah.
What's to say the guests aren't gonna sleep in the pool house?
Yeah.
Honestly.
Right.
Think about it, you know?
Put
And
air matters down
and
and,
who's going to enforce it?
Yeah.
right.
What I will say is, the applicant purchased the house.
Mhm.
When he purchased the house, he knew about the approval that the folks before him had gotten, even though they hadn't followed through on it. He knew that there was a restriction in that approval that said the first condition was the structure will not be used as sleeping quarters. And so.
We did that, remember, because of the 480.
Yes.
We made that
Yes.
decision.
And because, that's right.
Yeah.
And now we're just saying, what's 480 for schmady, right?
No, I get that. But think about like the case of someone knowingly building a structure that's non-conforming and then asking us for an as-built
Yeah, I get it.
variance.
But- But I mean, there's not that much difference in my mind when someone buys something, sees the restrictions. And look, anybody, if, let's say we gave or denied Mr. Matheson what he wanted or what he didn't want, he could come back in 2 months and ask for something more or different. There are no limits on the
Right.
kinds of appeals that people can have.
Right.
But, you know, I personally felt the first time around that I didn't like the idea of the small space being turned into sleeping quarters. And perhaps, I understand you say that it's unique, but perhaps setting some sort of precedent. You know, every time an attorney comes up here,
They say they're not precedent.
they say what they want is not precedent setting. And then they'll be back 6 months later with a similar proposal saying, hey, you
2
granted
months ago,
this,
this.
you know,
Yeah.
and so it concerns me. But look, if y'all, I feel like, you know, the two of you feel like you're feeling fairly positive on this. Tom, you seem like, what about you, Punch?
Yeah, I hate to go back on our word, what we said in the beginning. From
What was that?
Creek,
Thanks, I wasn't.
Where there's no sleeping quarters.
No, he was talking about the old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Original divide.
we're contradicting ourselves
Right,
in a
although
way.
I will say there is one difference, Punch, and that is that the original applicant did not apply
Correct.
to have sleeping quarters.
No, and we told,
That
we
condition.
told them that was in the condition,
Yeah,
there was gonna be no sleeping
yeah.
quarters.
Because of
And he-
the code.
Right, and he agreed with,
Well, the original applicant.
Yes.
Right. Just because they wanted to get legal so they could get in their septic to get the place on the market and sold. I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
what happened.
Yes. So, whatever, they're
Is
gone,
they-
they've washed their hands of this.
Right, but again, when we made that decision firsthand, they didn't have this type of an argument for sleeping quarters because that wasn't what they were asking
That's right.
for.
That is
You
correct.
know, they didn't go through looking at the cost versus benefit analysis of specific sleeping quarters. This application is doing that, and that's what they're asking. I can see why we did that on the first one because of the size, but now that the new information is here, the applicant, you know, the new applicant went through the process of trying to figure out, can we build something else on property, make it work? Yes, but it's going to be in the front yard and that's going to cause even more disturbance. We can put a second story on. Yes, but that's going to be the benefit, the cost benefit it doesn't seem to work. So they were trying to work with what they have on the property, which I appreciate. So I think it is a different type of an analysis that we have to do.
And the results of your analysis is?
I'm okay as long as we have the no cooking and not renting it out by itself.
And Lynn, you'd be happy with something like that?
I mean, I'm not happy with changing an earlier decision we made, but I'm okay with it, given the scope of the many things that come before us and the many things that we approve that are very disruptive to the character of the community and the land itself. I'm okay with this.
Gentlemen?
My initial thoughts were being okay with it. And if you were to toss out this because it was a different applicant and that person was not requesting sleeping quarters, it's a whole nother way of looking at it, rather than just looking and saying that those sleeping quarters were not allowed. You know, I would go with the consensus on it, but still a little
Yeah.
teetering on it.
That's why there are 5 of us.
Yeah, hey, that's, Punch, what are you feeling?
No sleeping, no cooking facility, and the bedroom cannot be open to the storage area. No door, no windows, solid wall. And I think it should be fireproof even. In case the guy does have chemicals in there.
So that's a building
Yeah, I know that's a building department, but
issue.
I think we should, throw everything out there to make sure it's
The
safe.
safety of the,
Yeah,
So maybe, whatever, something, just include a line that it must conform with all building codes to ensure the safety of,
the sleeping
right?
quarters.
Yep,
I
yep.
mean, this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
this, yeah, I agree 100%. So are we ready to move forward on this?
I think so.
Okay. All right, whether an undesirable change would be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties?
No, it would not,
No.
And why is that?
because it's an existing structure and it's been there. I don't remember, I have to look back, but it's been there probably since the house was built. It's the original garage, right?
yes.
And they're using it as a pool house already, so people are,
Although
It's inhabited, yeah.
Yeah.
they may be using it as a pool house, but it's not legal. They never got a building permit to
but
actually.
you can go in and out and use it. Maybe not to sleep in, but you can,
But even now, it's not, they never got a C of O for it.
The original applicant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by a feasible alternative to the variance.
It could. They could put a second
They could put a
story on, they
second
could put an addition.
Yeah, they could have put a
Yard.
second story on the house, a third bedroom.
Whether the requested variance is substantial. So we're actually talking about 2 variances. Or actually, it's 1 variance and,
No, it's two, right?
what's that?
You were
It is
sent
too.
a letter of denial.
All right, so here, we have 2. One is because it's the building is in the setback, okay? And so it will need an area variance of 11.6 feet because the building is only 8.4 feet from the property line.
So that one's not that significant, right?
I would say that it's more than 50%.
Well, the sleeping quarters, I
Right.
feel is significant.
Right.
Right.
But, this is a
Yeah,
pre-existing.
The setback is, as you say, over 50%.
Right. So it's substantial.
Okay, yeah.
And the area variance for the square foot living area is, again, a 57% variance. So I would say that both
Both are
variances
significant, okay.
are substantial.
No, I didn't know the setbacks were that large, okay.
Would the variance have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood?
I would say no.
And why is that?
It's an existing structure.
Right.
They have the IA septic.
Whether the alleged difficulty is self-created.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we're going to close this work session. Let's talk about conditions, sorry, before we.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
That it will,
No cooking,
no cooking,
no separate rental.
no separate rental.
Although, I
and-
mean, that's really, it's part of the code, but we might as well put it in there.
Yeah, and the safety compliance.
And that it complies with building code for
Building code.
safety because it is adjacent to a garage.
Storage area.
Any other conditions that we need here?
Just looking back at the last one, there was a little piece in there about the structure will not be further developed.
It would have to come before the ZBA, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Do you want to put that in there?
Sure, why not? It's,
Yeah, sure.
anyone else? Anything else? We'll close this work session.
Okay.
Don't we have one for Silver Beach?
Yeah, we're coming right up next.
Yeah.
We've got a couple more. We got two more.
Is a correspondence from Julia and Ed Brennan dated October 2nd, 2025. A letter from Matt Sherman on behalf of the applicant dated October 7th.
So we did receive, we're going to open this work session on 74 Peconic Avenue of Sullivan. We did receive a letter in support from Matt Sherman, and we received a letter stating continued opposition from Louis Brennan. So So after the first hearing of this, applicant went back and tried to address the most egregious problems. But there are still things, so the things that we're considering here right now are a second floor addition that has 215 square feet of new bulk in the side yard setback. That needs a special permit. The second floor roof deck has 241 square feet of new bulk, and that's in the side yard setback. That begins only 7.5 feet from the property line. That needs special permit. And then construction of a new 414 square foot deck and pergola with 158 feet in the front yard setback. That's holding a distance of 24.1 feet from North Silver Beach Road. And that, you know, because of North Silver Beach Road being that sort of down to the town landing, that gives them a second front yard. And then construction of new steps pertinent to the residence in the rear yard setback. So if you look on the plans, you see that this I'm right here somewhere. So the steps, I think, are in the rear yard, right here off of the two sliders. And then you see the pergola and deck here. And they're taking out a deck that goes deeper into the wetland setback and replacing it with a deck that doesn't go quite as far back into the wetlands, but does get extended more into that North Silver Beach Road front yard setback. And then construction of a new outdoor shower attached to the house entirely within the North Silver Beach Road front yard setback. But, you know, it's funny when, yes, it does show the outdoor shower, it's just a dot.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, I guess to have the fixtures out there, but, you know, at this point, it doesn't show any structure there. And so if there's no structure on, we can't be approving. And then the last two were the AC units and the pool, both of which they have addressed. So if, we want to just run through these here quickly and just see if there's any points of friction. All right, so the first one is second floor addition with 215 square feet of new bulk and side yard setback with no expansion of footprint. That's,
Can you show me what you're looking at? Yeah.
And I know we raised the concern that it was very close to the side yard setback, and part of their response was that the design called for this based on the interior design and where the staircase was being.
To get to the second floor.
Right.
um, you know, I get that part of it, I guess. I think this might be the more of the friction point here. The second floor roof deck with 241 square feet of new bulk and side yard setback, holding a distance of 7.5 feet from the property line with no expansion of footprint.
Is it it's 414 square feet?
No, that's the deck, the rear yard. This is,
Oh, the.
this.
I think it's 215, 215 is square feet,
The deck
No,
is
the deck is
241.
the waterfront side.
No, so the first of the 215 punch is enclosed in the building. Right, the 241 is
The square foot of the
the deck.
roof deck.
Yes.
Roof deck, 241? Okay, I got that wrong.
Um, Yeah.
Were there two entrances to the roof deck?
There were
yes,
two
there is.
entrances, yeah.
There's one that come up the stairs and you can go right out onto that deck.
And the other one's out of the bedroom.
That's right. You know, my feeling on the actual deck itself is that I think that second floor decks get used way less than people think that they're gonna get used. It is very close to the side yard.
Could we reduce the size, or it's already only 241, but
The, the deck is a little bit less than 10 feet deep. That'd be 9.9 feet deep that way. And then it's the full width of the house, almost the house.
how many people could you have on that deck? So,
I mean, you can have a lot, but the reality, I think the reality is, I don't know how often second floor decks really get used. I could see this being a place where someone sits out in the morning and has their coffee and a paper, but, it is very close to the sideline.
I just think it's too close.
What's that?
It's too close. I mean, I'm not a fan of the deck at all, especially if there's two entrances.
well, yeah, because it went from just like going up there from the bedroom in the morning to
Yeah.
then, oh, by the way, there's the
By the way,
second.
there's a second entrance, so there's a lot more use opportunity there.
Gentlemen, what do you think?
If it weren't so, oh, yeah, sorry, you talking to him.
Waiting, and you can-
If it weren't so close.
Yeah.
Punch?
I think they're gonna use, mostly, I think they're gonna use the front towards the bay deck more than they use the upstairs. Because definitely, why would you want a lot of people? You got a bedroom up there and have them on your deck.
I mean, even if it's just one or two people though up there, I mean, looking at how close it is to that property, I mean, you're in your neighbor's personal space basically at that point.
No more than if you had a window on the second floor looking toward
You
you.
can put curtains up.
It's six and a half, and doesn't it?
Tom, what about you? How are you feeling on that?
It is close to the property line. It's a vacant lot, but it is close to the line. And, I think what Punch hit on was that, yes, the aft deck, the water side of the structure, that deck is gonna probably be more. I mean, if this had just a bedroom entry onto the deck, I could see that, as I think Lynn was saying, or, Lisa's had mentioned, someone's coming out to the deck for a cup of coffee out of their bedroom, but, it is close to the property line. There's no denying that. But like Punch also said,
Because you're gonna be the one facing the water, that's where your sunsets are, the nice cool breeze.
right, and until there's,
Yeah.
a lot of people there, then both decks are being used, and I could see that piece as well.
Maybe
know.
have 'em move that second door going out, just so you only get out on that deck through the bedroom. That might cut down some people. I don't know the whole answer.
I think it's kind of, I get it. Second floor deck, beautiful, it's really nice, but it's kind of like a nice to have instead of,
When you're already on the water
I
with
need-
the front deck on the ground
Right,
level.
I can see how the design warrants, I mean, logically, you have a flat roof there, hey, let's put a door and put a nice deck that you can use, sure, but it's just too close to the property line for me.
So let me ask you a question, Lisa. If in fact, they came back and said, hey, we're going to take away that second door, would you be more inclined to approve it or not really?
Not really.
Okay.
And cut the deck in half. They only go out of the bedroom. That means that the people who lived in that bedroom, they could go out there and sit and have a cup of coffee in the morning. And you cut it down small enough that that's all you're gonna have, enough room for a few people to have a cup of coffee.
You could put a deck on the other side where it's not close to the neighbors. I don't know what the layout, like on the inside, what that access point is, but I think there's other options, and I think this is,
Okay. So let's say that for now, this is a friction point. Well, let's move on to the other things, okay? If we can. All right. Construction of a new 414 square foot deck and pergola with 158 square feet in the front yard setback, holding a distance of 24.1 feet from North Silver Beach Road property. So what we're looking at is here, and this part of this is in that side yard setback, or front yard setback, because it's, I think that I'm okay with this.
Yep.
I think, there might be some more heavy lifting to do at the wetlands application
Mhm.
hearing on that. Everybody good with that?
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
fine.
All right. Construction of new steps are pertinent to the residents in the rear yard setback. Again, I see those as being right here at the two sliding glass doors there.
Need those, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm good with those as well. And then construct new outdoor shower attached to the house. Again, we're not approving any structure on that because it doesn't show any structure on the plans. So in terms of having a shower body mounted on the side of the house, it's kind of okay with that too. So I guess the one sticking point here we have is the roof deck. Can I get just a sort of a feeling, you feel like a no, on that, right, Lynn?
I'm leaning no.
Okay. Tom?
I agree, it's close to the property. You know, I don't know if Punch's idea of being smaller helps any more like a balcony than a deck.
Right.
Uh, You know, and I, you know, while it might be a vacant lot now, next door, but if it was ever built on, it would be right at, if that other house had a second floor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that might be a detriment to the nearby properties.
Yes.
That might cause some harm to that property, even though it's vacant. It might be less appealing if you have a deck that's 7 feet off the property line.
What I'm getting at.
All right. Punch, what about you?
I'll go with the rest of you. I don't want to make waves.
I personally feel like these things hardly get used, but it is also very close to the property. So if everybody agrees, we could go through this and work it up where we're going to give the special permits and the variances for everything but that. Would that be something that is everybody's kind of ready to do here?
Yes,
That's the whole thing with the second floor deck, is they have this other grand waterfront deck. If they didn't have that.
And
then-
I agree, Lynn, and there's also that, when I'm looking at the interior floor plans on the second floor, they put it off of, I can see there's the one-bedroom access,
Mhm.
and then here's the stair, but there's a whole other flat roof deck over here that could possibly have a deck that would not interfere with the neighbors,
Right.
and you'd still get a water view.
All right, so we're going to move forward on everything but the deck variance or special permit? Yes? Everybody in alignment
Why
right
is our
now?
job so hard, Phil?
I mean, I love a good second story deck, but.
I don't know, then why is it so hard? Yeah, let me find what I did with it.
It's at the back of the.
yeah. They staple together. It's on your,
Lisa, will you take the notes on this one so Phil can?
No, 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 no.
I gotta find my paper now.
I'm not taking any credit or blame.
It's on the back of this.
Okay, just let me find this and then I will.
This is what that sheet looks like.
It's exactly what I can't
Can you
find.
give me yours?
No, no, I'm just gonna,
Here.
Here it is.
here, look at that. Hey, Tom.
there it is.
I. Okay, so. The first worksheet we're gonna work on is the area variance findings and decision. And for the area variances, we have an area variance of 158 square feet for the construction of the new 414 square foot deck. And then we also have an area variance for the new outdoor shower. And, I'm sorry, and also for the construction of the new steps pertinent to the residence in the rear yard setback. So those are the three.
If that's just a
areas.
shower head, why is that needing?
I don't know, Lynn, but it's,
Okay.
it's, it's in the denial letter. so,
Okay,
Maybe they're gonna put a shower curtain there, I don't know.
okay.
I would. Whether an undesirable change would be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby property. So when it comes to those.
You're gonna need to split this out between the different reliefs, right?
What's that,
It's not one-
Tim?
You'll need to split it between the different variances that are being talked
Okay.
about.
Okay, very good. Yeah, thank you.
Are there 3 or 2 for this one?
There's 3.
The 158 square foot deck, the outdoor shower, and what's the third thing?
And the
Steps outside.
Oh, the steps, sorry.
Okay, so, all right, as far as the construction of the new 414 square foot deck requires an area variance of 158 square feet. And it would be, I think, 15.9 feet of variance because of the setback, because it should be a 40-foot front yard setback,
Right.
and it's going to have a 24.1-foot setback. So it's a 15.9-foot variance for 158 square feet.
Yes. That's more about the substantiality though, isn't it, than the character of the neighborhood? Because aren't we on the first one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so what do you mean?
we're on question
Yeah,
one.
I know we're on question 1.
Okay, so that's not answering that question, right?
What's the question?
Will this change produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood? The thing you're just talking about, I think that's more about the substantiality, right?
Yes, okay, so.
Okay, sorry,
No, so, well, first, we're gonna talk about that thing. Will that deck, that side of that deck,
Cause an undesirable change.
yes, there we go, Lisa. And the answer for me is no.
no.
Agreed.
Okay. So that's no, number one. Now we're gonna do the
Outdoor shower,
outdoor shower?
No.
No,
No,
the steps,
the steps.
no,
no.
2-step.
okay.
It's on the note taker, sorry, that's why it's being so orderly about it.
Okay, it's all right, Mark.
Okay.
It's fine. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by a feasible alternative to the variance.
Yes, it could.
They would have to have a smaller deck
Or no
or
deck,
no deck.
yeah.
They do
I-
need steps, though.
They do need steps.
You need steps to get out of the house.
And so so the deck one, or the deck and pergola, can, the benefits sought by the applicant be achieved by feasible alternatives to the
Yes.
variance?
Yes, they could not have it.
But that's
Is
not a
that feasible?
alternative. That's just no.
I think based on the position of the house and the fact that it has 2 front yard setbacks, it would be difficult to achieve having a deck this size any other way.
Yeah.
So no,
Okay.
okay.
Yes, yes to the no.
Right, for the steps, I can't see anything feasible alternative.
No.
No,
Jump.
no, we're not having a door there, but that's not feasible. You need egress.
The outdoor shower?
I guess they don't have to have it, but it's so minimal.
So what are we
Say
saying,
yes.
no? Are we saying yes? For the shower, they could,
They could not have the shower. I'm gonna say yes on number 2.
they could put the shower in the front yard, right? Would that be a joy?
No, they can't, we didn't let them have a pool out there, so we're not gonna give them a shower either.
Whether the requested variance is substantial. I would say that the front yard setback for the porch is substantial.
Yes.
And the others
I
aren't.
would say that for the steps and for the shower, not.
Agreed.
Would the variance have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood? I'm going to say no.
No.
Whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, yes.
Yes.
Now we're going to move on to the special permit for the expansion of bulk. And they had applied for 2 special permits. 3, I guess, 4, boy.
Oh, yeah, I thought.
Can you just list them for me, please?
So the special permit, the things that require special permit, first is second floor addition with 215 square feet of new bulk in the side yard setback with no expansion of footprint. The second is the second floor roof deck with 241 square feet of new bulk in the side yard setback, holding a distance of 7.5 feet from the property line with no expansion of footprint. That needs a special permit. The construction of the new steps appurtenant to the residence in the rear yard setback, that needed an area variance and a special permit. And then the new outdoor shower attached to the house also needed an area variance and a special permit.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Tim, we need to break this up into 4 here?
You know, to the extent that they can be answered collectively, you know, you could do that, but if you don't think so, then they would have to split up.
Is the proposed use the most appropriate use of this land? So, first off, Tim, let me ask you a question. If we now are leaning towards approving the special permits for the expansion of the bulk and everything except for that deck, is there a way to just say, hey, we're saying no to the deck, and or do we have to weigh that here again?
Well, I think you'd want to do them separately, you know, as a point of procedure, really, you would be making your ultimate decision after going through the factors, right?
Oh, Right.
But, you know, so I think you'll want to, you know, answer these, that's what I meant, you know, to the extent they could be grouped together, you can go through them together, but if, you know, you might need to parse out the deck first, you know.
Okay, why don't we address the second floor deck first? And then we can kind of put the others together because they seem to have the same sort of feeling with the project. Is that okay with everyone?
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, make it easier.
Yeah. All right, so when it comes to the second floor deck, general suitability, is the proposed use the most appropriate use of this land? This worksheet is just so inappropriate.
Right.
So, you know, is the proposed use the most appropriate use of this land? You know, I think that the most appropriate use of something 7.5 feet from
Property line.
Outlet is not.
would be, right, this is an expansion in a place where clearly I don't think that we want to have the expansion. It's not talking about the land so much as talking about the property, so.
We'll say no for the roof deck
um,
or all of it.
Yeah, I'll say no, sure, why not?
I agree.
What about for 2, 3, and 4, the lump together of the rest?
Can we come back to all 2, 3, 4?
Oh, you want to do it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just the deck right now.
Oh, okay.
Will the use be detrimental to surrounding property values? So I think it actually
yes.
I
could.
think it would
Yes.
be, yeah.
Will the use cause an overcrowding of land or undue concentration of population? No,
No.
I can't see that. Is the site suitable for the location of such use in the town? Again, it's only 7.5 feet from the property line. I don't know that in this situation that it is suitable. What do you folks
It
think?
is residential,
It's
though.
residential, that's
Yeah,
Right, but is
The
it suitable
site
for this,
suitable for
the
this
use we're
use,
talking about is
using
this
the
second
deck,
floor
right.
deck?
I no, because it's too close to the property line.
Is proposal harmonious with the character of the existing and probable development of uses in the vicinity?
I think the deck is not.
It's just, it's too close to the property line again.
oh, definitely.
Is a proposed use accessible for fire and other emergency apparatus? Yes.
Yes.
Is a proposed use unreasonably near a church, school, theater, recreational area, or no other place of public consent? I know. Will the proposed use interfere with the established uses in the neighborhood?
Well, if the established use is like quiet and privacy, it would, but if it's just like a residential use, then no.
What are we going to answer on this, folks?
It's tricky because it's the established uses. If we're concerned about the neighboring property, it's a vacant lot. Currently, that's the established use, but it's a residential, you can build on it.
Do you want to say no?
Yeah, I guess no.
No on this.
Are the driveways and sidewalks adequate to ensure the public safety and avoid traffic congestion? Yes. Are there adequate facilities for the treatment room or discharge of sewage, refuse, or other effluent from this use? They're going to have to put in a new IA system, so I'm going to say yes.
Right.
Will the proposed use cause odors, dust, light, or noise, and if so, how can the impact be minimized? So there would be light, in
Light,
fact,
yeah.
from this.
And noise,
Okay.
so yes.
Yes.
Will the proposed use impact the aquifer and other important natural resources? No. It's a lot big enough for the proposed use.
No.
A lot small. Is there enough off-street parking for employees and visitors? Yes, I think putting some new parking there. What buffers and screening are necessary? So,
This was tricky because they did say, oh, we could put in shrubs, but then you lose
The site,
the site, which was the goal of it. So I don't think there's,
right, and there's existing screening. Screening isn't quite that high. But because of the presence of that screening and then the house 7.5 feet away from there, I don't know what screening you could plant that would thrive there. But I'm gonna say none.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, and we're gonna say that this special permit should not be allowed, right? Okay, now we'll go to the rest of it.
Which is 1, 3, and 4.
2, 3, and 4 now, we moved the numbers.
Well, no,
Or you can't do that?
wait a minute, Len,
One, three.
you're taking the notes, you make it whatever you want it to be.
The first was the second floor addition, second was the second floor deck.
Yeah, so I would say it's 1, 3, and 4, yes.
Okay.
So we're talking about the second floor addition with 215 square feet of new bulk in the side yard setback. We're talking about the construction of a 414 square foot deck and pergola. And we're talking about the construction of new steps that are pertinent to the residence. No, sorry, I had the deck and the pergola is not square, it's not special permit.
No.
All right, so we have the construction of steps and then we have the new outdoor shower. So I'd like to maybe if we could treat these three somewhat together.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe you can read the questions.
Is the proposed use the most appropriate use of this land?
Yes.
Because it's residential.
Will the use be detrimental to surrounding property values?
No.
No,
Will the use cause an overcrowding of land or undue concentration of population?
No.
No. Location, is the site suitable for the location of such use in the town?
Yes.
Yes.
Is the proposal harmonious with the character of the existing and probable development of uses in the vicinity?
Yes.
yes,
Is the proposed use accessible for fire and other emergency apparatus?
Yes.
yes,
Is the proposed use unreasonably near a church, school, theater, recreation area, or other place of public assembly?
No.
No. Will the proposed use interfere with established uses in the neighborhood?
No.
Are the driveways and sidewalks adequate to assure public safety and avoid traffic?
Yes.
yes,
Are there adequate facilities for treatment removal of sewage, refuse, and other effluent from misuse?
Yes.
it will be.
Will the proposed cause odors, dust, light, or noise, and how can it be minimized?
I don't think there's going to be any of that.
No.
Will the proposed use impact the aquifer and other important natural resources?
I can see.
Is the lot big enough for the proposed use and its reasonable anticipated operation and expansion? It's really not, is it?
It's not, well, no, I'd say no on that one.
Is there enough off-street parking?
Yes.
What buffers and screening are necessary? None.
No.
Okay, any,
Maybe a shower curtain.
and the conclusion is to allow 1, 3, and 4.
Yes.
Okay,
Tim, is that clear enough here?
Yes.
thank
Okay.
you.
All right, so we're going to close that work session and move on to 5 Mark Street, Hunter One Realty.
This is on its own.
Okay. This is a very old building. Used to be a barn, storage. Heard it. And there are, because the building is an existing building, very old, when it was originally built, it was built into the setback. And so they're not looking to expand the footprint, but the building itself is already in the setbacks. And so this rear yard setback, so it's in C zone. So for the rear and side yard setback, they're only required 10 feet. And this has a rear yard setback of 4 feet at the southwest corner, where 10 is specified. That requires a 6-foot variance. The side yard setback from the southern boundary line of 9 feet, where 10 is specified, requiring a 1-foot ZBA variance. And then a front yard setback of 25 feet 7 inches, where 30 is required, requiring a 4.3-foot ZBA variance. Anyone have some thoughts on this one?
I read written down in-kind replacement as a barn, so no new construction. I don't have any objections to it in my notes that I remember.
Lisa?
Yeah, I didn't have any major issues with this one.
One?
No,
Tom?
Nothing major.
Okay, I mean, for me, it's taking a building that really needs some love and giving it some love. I don't know that, you could change it so that it didn't need any variances by moving the building, which is, at that point, you might as well, I think, start over. So I kind of like the idea of finishing this place. And We ready to go to the worksheet?
You ready to read it, Carl?
You know, there's
Want me
something
to
wrong with
read
my
it?
throat today.
Okay. You ready to read it?
I'm so ready for you to.
Okay, number one, whether an undesirable change would be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties.
I would say no.
Number two, whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by a feasible alternative to the variance.
Besides moving the
No,
whole
I
building.
can't.
I would say no.
I can't see it.
Whether their requested variance is substantial,
I think that.
the one is,
The
right?
one variance for the rear yard setback is substantial.
So in aggregate, it's yes?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure, say yes.
Would the variance have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood?
No,
No.
No.
And whether the alleged difficulty was self-created?
yes.
Any conditions? Do you think of any?
Tim, you feel like we have satisfied the requirements here on this?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else have any other input on this? No? All right, well, let's close the work session on this. Can
Okay,
we do that?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so then, and can we close the meeting?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.